Greetings, it's Reverend Dr. Aliah again, and here we are at key practice number 2. So, the key word for this practice is environment, but it's not what you normally think about environment. I'm going to tell you more in a minute, but I want you to know that we're on a journey. We're journeying together through this series called Cracking the Codes of Caring, that's based on SEL. And in this regard, the word environment will describe the personal elements of your students' lives, like the experiences that they're having, their home life, how they're feeling, like right now especially, their specific challenges, because we all have challenges, and things like that. In other words, this practice, the key practice number 2 with the key word of environment, is about your students' personal stories. And in particular, this practice, number 2, is about the power of storytelling. Also, let me quickly mention that SEL tools can stand alone, all by themselves, like key practice number 1 or key practice number 2 or key practice number 3, or they can be used as an actual set of strategies, and I like to mix them together. You don't have to put them in order. Feel free, though, to add practice 1, which you just learned about, to practice 2, which I'm about to share with you now. So, key practice number 2 is about environment, and that's about embracing your students' stories. And when you embrace their stories, we want you to show interest. Of course you would anyway, because when we start to tell our stories, it just, brings us in. We're humans and we love each other's stories. Stories allow us to be human beings together. When you go to any culture around the world, you'll know that storytelling is a very significant part of what they do in their communities, in their families, and in their culture historically. So for SEL, I want to say this. We all have a story, and those stories are made up of good things and sometimes not so good things. In today's world, it's more common than ever before that your students have gone through a loss. They may have fear or anxiety. They may feel excluded or uncertain. They may have faced a crisis, or they simply just need extra support. Knowing how to utilize storytelling is perfect for these times. The SEL tool is directly linked to what is often called trauma-informed care. And developing a sensitivity to trauma is a very important part of social-emotional learning. Now, I want you to be clear about something. The expectation is not for you to become a clinician or a therapist, but rather that you become intentional about caring for your students by paying attention to them in a deliberate and healing manner. So what do I mean when I use the word healing? What I'm saying is that it is therapeutic for young people to sense that they are in an environment that cares about them. Students want to feel safe, and they want to know that a supportive adult has an interest in them. So healing energy is created when you embrace your students no matter what their story is, whether they're having a good day or a bad day, whether they look sad or they look happy. No matter what, your students want you to support them. And they want to be themselves. And you'll let them do that because you will know their story. So here we are. We're getting now to the place of the 3-step roadmap. Remember, there's going to be 3 specific steps. You're going to get to read about these later. But right now, I'm just going to outline them for you. So step 1 for practice number 2, which is about their environment, which is really all about storytelling, is this. Storytelling is easy to implement, so do it. It is traditionally present in academic settings all the time. We do essays and book reports, I think. I mean, we used to when I was a student. We may not now, but I think we still do. And because storytelling is so natural for an academic setting, it can be brought forth in a myriad of formats. Here's some fun ones. Through spoken word poetry. I know young people love spoken word poetry. You're going to have in the study guide some instructions about that. Actually, I just wanted to mention it. Through live presentations, we used to do speeches in school, of course through essays. And here's another really, what should I call it? Contemporary, current, trending thing is to have video be the way that young people tell their story. So video offerings are really important these days. So all kinds of things you can do in step 1 of the roadmap of how to implement this one. Step 2, I'd like you to consider creating an avenue, an actual platform where storytelling is part and parcel of what you always do with your students. And some of the platforms that I know about are things like the restorative justice community circles, or morning meetings, which are just simply people talking about what they need to talk about, how they're feeling, what happened the day before, where they want to go for the, in the upcoming week, and even via fun and games. So storytelling can, be expressed or brought into things that we don't even think about. So just think about when someone will have an opportunity to tell you something about themselves. That's storytelling. When they will have an opportunity to tell you something about themselves. Third step in the roadmap. One of my favorite storytelling exercises is one that I promote all the time because it's a getting to know you exercise. And the activity centers around a very simple question. If you really knew me, you'd know blank, right? If you really knew me, you'd know blank. This is an actual question that you can have an activity around. So here, let me tell you this, right? If you really knew me, Dr. Aliah, you'd know that I love talking about social emotional learning. And so, I just want to say, this approach has so much to offer. There's fun in it. And there's seriousness in it. And so again, I'm going to mention that the Museum of Tolerance is a wonderful place for your students to explore their own stories. We have a specific exhibit there called Finding Our Families, Finding Ourselves. And it offers a rich opportunity to engage students, but experientially. You can find out more in the study guide about everything that has to do with the museum and about everything that I'm speaking about in this video. So thank you for listening. We're at the end of practice number 2.